Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I'm Avinash Verma, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulae for many. And this is what we aim to achieve with these sessions that are a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such stalwart on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Avinash Verma. As a competent professional, seasoned over 15 years in the pharmaceutical industry, Avinash has been targeting senior managerial assignments in sales and business development, project management, category and procurement, operations, supply chain management, and logistics, cold chain management, and a lot more. At present, Avinash is heading the Pharma division of Reliance Retail in the capacity of General Manager. Here, Avinash is leading Pharma cold chain category and procurement, represented the national headquarters team managing the COVID-19 vaccine supply chain and distribution project under the corporate vaccine drive. Currently, Avinash is handling temperature-sensitive pharma category and procurement, along with handling numerous other responsibilities. Welcome Avinash, to FaceTime with Leaders.
Good afternoon, Arjuna. Thank you for having me here.
Pleasure. So, Avinash, did you have a knack for what you are doing, or did you develop it over time?
I would say that from my education background, since I have done my B.Pharm and then a master's in clinical research, which helped me up to again drive my career growth from the clinical research point of view, and then that's how I have landed to temperature control supplies and handling the specialty drugs. So yes, it's more, I would say that I have developed it over time. So in this again, if you see in clinical research, what happens is mostly the products that is being developed. It's more of like the testing, the R&D part. So research and development that happens. You must have seen in the COVID scenario, the vaccine was being developed within a very short span, but actually it takes around 10 plus years, which was being shortened down. And then again, since there was an emergency, so the product was being developed with the collaboration of all stakeholders, I would say, like the manufacturers, then the suppliers, and then the logistics companies, and everyone was involved in it. So that helped in, again, driving this in a faster pace. And then we were able to get out of this pandemic situation. Right. So similar is the case where what I am doing right now. So since I have already handled vaccine project during this COVID vaccination drive. So right now, what I'm doing is more related to the temperature sensitive product shipments storage. So it's more, we call it about drug distribution, or you can say good distribution practice guidelines. So there we mostly focus on how the pharma products has to be manufactured, stored, and distributed throughout the supply chain, where the authenticity of the product, or you can say the product's quality, is not being compromised. So that's the main area where I'm handling it. And the reason behind is, again, it's in COVID scenario also, you must have seen that it has to be stored at various particular temperatures. In India, we had two of our vaccines was there, which was supposed to be stored at 2 to 8, right? So that 2 to 8 is a very critical situation, where we have to manage the temperature within that. If the temperatures goes below 2 or beyond 8, that's where the product gets spoiled. So that's the critical area where we have to see that from the time it is been manufactured till the time it is been administered to the patient or the public, it has to be maintained within that range, the temperature range. So cold chain doesn't only mean about 2 to 8, but again, there are various categories of products. So some pharma products, mostly you will see that like they are stored in 15 to 25, then you can say 2 to 8. Then after that, it's minus 20 products. Even in vaccines also, if you see like in other like developed countries, there was an mRNA vaccine that was being developed by Pfizer. So that storage condition was minus 20. So there the critical storage condition, and then the supply was even more like you can say specialist areas like which has to be handled. So that was more has to be a focused area. So apart from that, like we also have you can say cryogenic shippers and also which we send it through, you can say liquid nitrogen and all, like mostly the organ supplies and then the biologicals that is being shipped. So these also comes under the cold chain management. So right now, if you see around 60% of the pharma products requires temperature storage. So that's where is my core expertise, which I have developed from the clinical research perspective when I started my career after my B Pharm and then a master's in clinical research. So after that, like I got an opportunity to work in clinical operations department. From the clinical operations department, I got a knack of like how the product has to be stored and all. And being a pharmacist, my inclination moved towards how it has to be like, again, we can control and maintain the quality of the product without any deviations. So here it's this division or the process that I have been a part of it. It includes, you can say, I would say more of like storage, distribution, logistics, quality control, regulatory, everything comes into that particular bracket to ensure that the product is maintained in a proper temperature and the quality is not compromised. So that is all about which I have learned during the journey of past 15 years.
Very inspiring. And Avinash, have you ever felt a need for better ESG integration in the pharma industry?
I would say if we look from the ESG lens, then pharma, you can say pharma manufacturing or the pharma industry emits, it emits more, you can say carbon than automotive industry. Right. So in that case, again, the pharma industry is very critical where we have to look from the ESG point of view, where again, I would say like 55% of the intensity is there with respect to the automotive industry. And what happens is the impact is mostly happening in all the kind of like departments, mostly the R&D activities, then it's supply chain, plus the storage, distribution, logistics, everywhere it plays a vital role. 71% of the healthcare emissions happens in supply chain. And that's where, again, cold chain is the area where like most of the energy is being consumed. So we have to see like how we can reduce that energy consumption and even maintain that particular temperature of the products and the integration of ESG. Hence, the majority of, you can say, the pharma companies like have now making it a target of like having carbon neutral by 2030. In that, there are two pharma companies, it's like Merck and Novartis, like who have already planned that they will be going carbon neutral by 2025. And one company, Pfizer, which has also targeted that they will be reaching carbon neutral by 2030. So most of the pharma companies are targeting to reach that particular direction. And how they are going to do it? So the steps that are being involved in that pharma industry is more of like facility modernization with the help of, you can say, green concept or green concept. Right, so that construction, that manufacturing units should be like more efficient and like again minimize the, you can say, greenhouse emission mostly. So that's how like the production units and the warehousing units should be there. Then adoption in electric vehicles in the logistics, which caters to again cold chain. So again, they have to see like an alternative mechanisms to reduce the carbon emission. So that's where again a place where they have to work upon. Another is about the reducing plastics, single-use plastics. If you see in pharma companies, till today, like some manufacturers as well as the distributors, they are using thermocols. In a common language, we call it as thermocol, right? But we call it as EPS, extruded polystyrene, which is carcinogenic in nature. And the end of that is in the landfills. So if we are putting it in the land, again, we are again cultivating it, the crops we are cultivating, which will be again a kind of a poisonous thing, right? So we have to minimize use of single-use plastics as well as, I would say, thermocols. There are various other alternate packaging solutions that have come into the market, which will again, from the ESG concepts, yes, from the environmental point of view, it will be more sustainable and greener than this use of thermocol, right? Apart from that, companies have also started using the concept of circular economy, where even though if they are using any, you can say plastic related products, then in that case, they are trying to minimize the wastage and they are trying to reuse it as well as recycle or give it on a rental basis, right? So that way they are trying to bring the, you can say the carbon emission concept into picture, and then they are helping in the ESG concepts, right? Apart from that, the real-time monitoring of this, you can say the products, like when we are sending it from them, there are again various stages when the products move from the manufacturer till the last mile to the, you can say the patient. So there are various stages. What happens is from the manufacturer, it goes to the central warehouse, or we call it as a CFA. From the CFA, it goes to the distributor. From the distributor, it goes to the wholesaler. From the wholesaler, it goes to the retailer. So this is the entire channel, or we can say the entire link. Now, this link has to be unbroken from the cold chain perspective. So we have to see from that angle. So the manufacturers do take the responsibility till the CFA level or the distributor level. But from the distributor to the wholesaler or the retailer is the challenge. It's a gray area where there is no monitoring mechanism that's happening, right? We don't know whether like when they have sent it, take for example, if any product that has been manufactured in any corner of our India, like where we have our manufacturing units like Hyderabad, or you can say in Baddi in Himachal Pradesh, or you can say in Gujarat, most of the pharma companies are there, right? So we have to send the product to all across India, right? So in that case, the journey, during the journey, we have to see like whether the product was being maintained at the particular temperature or not, whether it could be a 2 to 8, 15 to 25, -20 product. So that monitoring mechanism is not so much prevalent. Reason behind is the regulation is not so much strong. So that's where the governance comes into picture, and we have to ensure that the regulatory compliance are in place. This is where we are lagging behind from other developed countries where these concepts are already in place. The reason why I'm saying is, in my previous stint, like I have handled India as well as the UAE market and the developed countries. So there I have seen the differences, like the same manufacturer, if they are providing the product within India, the way of the distribution is different. Whereas when they are exporting it, it's quite different, where they use a different kind of packagings. So that's why there is a differentiation. So we are again like I would say here the social of the ESG part, the social comes into picture, where we have to equally consider everyone as an equal, right? From I would say partiality. Yes, from that angle. So these are the things. And to counter this, again, there is a latest development that has happened through the National Center of Disease Control. What they are doing is they have implemented to have a course in the medical colleges as well. medical councils, then the pharmacy councils, the nursing councils, the Ayush councils, everyone is coming together and they are trying to make sure that the new generation students, the medical professionals, are also having the knowledge of the impact of environment and the pollution on the patient's health.
Wow,
Right?
this is amazing. Sorry, I like,
yeah,
because I couldn't stop myself, because this is really like so much required and so important, because I've seen how much of wastage and how much of plastic, aluminium and hospital generates, but it's
sure.
important health.
Yeah,
Wow,
and
so this is amazing.
yes, and one more point I just want to add. It's more of like I would say it's getting implemented, but again it is taking time in that. And for that, right now, if you see when there is a health checkup that happens, the physician always asks about that: do you smoke or are you alcoholic? But no one asks about like about the environmental factors, whether they are exposed to environment, like you can say pollution and all, which is again unhazardous and it is impacting the life. So that's the reason, like this is also one of the initiative by National Center of Disease Control, where ESG wise, like it is helping. And again, that will be a kind of a study. Right? So we are going in a long way. And again, ESG is a kind of a support mechanism in healthcare as well, whether it's pharmaceutical or in any hospitals or healthcare, total healthcare industry.
That's how we are evolving.
Yeah.
Amazing. And particularly, how do you align cold chain management with ESG and sustainability?
With the changing landscape of e-commerce, if you see, there is an urgent need of like home deliveries, faster deliveries and all, right? Where the delivery services like are increasing. So in that, again, cold chain wise, the cold chain logistics is very much important. All right. And also, if you see that, as I was saying, that 71% of it completely is of like of the healthcare is depends upon the supply chain, where more carbon emission is happening. So here, if you see like 900, I have a data like which I have just gone through, where it was mentioned that around 931 million tons of food gets wasted because of you can say temperature. Okay, so mostly the perishable products, you can see the food, perishable products and all. And in that, 14% of the food gets wasted between harvest till it reaches to the retail market, right? Similar concept is for, again, the pharma products. Here we have seen around $35 billion are lost because of cold chain is not maintained, and because of that, the product has been gone wasted. Okay, so here there are three, you can say there are the main elements of cold chain. If you see, then we have to look from around 4-5 parameters. Mostly about is like what are the packaging materials that we are using. Okay, in the cooling system that we are using in the manufacturing, what is the cooling system that we are using? Similarly, in the supply chain, what are the packaging solutions that we are using? Are they green or not? Right. So from that angle, we have to see whether they can be reused, can be provided on a rental basis, or can be recyclable. So that's where like we are moving forward with the help of ESG. Similarly, you can say the cold storage. Now, there are a lot many cold storages are coming up. The reason behind is there is an awareness that has been built, right? That we have to maintain cold chain for, you can say, sustaining the life of the product. Right. So cold storage are also like, again, we are building with the help of like solar and then renewable energies, like where we are minimizing the energy consumptions, like fossil fuel consumptions and all. On the other hand, again, from the transport point of view, as I had mentioned earlier, also the electric vehicles are coming up, right? So there are a lot many like points which are the factors which will be helping in ESG implementation in the pharma, especially towards the cold chain. Plus, IoT devices are there. since I was saying that there has to be a monitoring of the temperature. Take for example, if any shipment is going from one place to another, and if the distance is of around 24 hours, 48 hours, or 72 hours, we have to see what is the temperature during that particular entire journey. So for that, there are various mechanisms, like there are IoT devices are there. So data loggers we call, so that has been used. Even the real-time monitoring systems are also in place, where through which we will be able to do the track and trace and the temperature monitoring. Right. So these are the latest developments that has happened from the IoT point of view, which is helping pharma industries for maintaining the cold chain, and then even like giving a data which will be as a proof that yes, the product was being maintained throughout the entire journey from the manufacturer till the end user, right? So these are some of the points through which like cold chain is helping in sustainability and the ESG part.
Enormous amount of work, enormous amount of energy, enormous amount of data, technology. Healthcare is so intensive and extensive. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
There's
And
many.
that's where there is an importance of it.
Yeah, like we just think that one medicine which we buy has so much of story behind it. Amazing. And now, since you are an ESG certified corporate governance expert, what values do you offer the corporate world?
If we see again from the ESG point of view, there are 3 P's that we have to focus on. It's planet, people, and prosperity. So here, when we are talking about the planet or the environment, the first part is the ESG. So here it covers more of the materials that we are using in the pharmaceuticals, the raw materials, and from where we are sourcing, right? Then the land that we are using for manufacturing, right? Or for dumping the wastes, right? Another is like what percentage of pollution that is getting created because of the entire like development of a product, that we have to see. And even the waste management or the waste responsibility also need to be taken care of, right? So that is from the environmental point of view. From the working environment for the workforce, because it's a very controlled kind of a manufacturing as well as the handling is required over here. So the workers also need to be provided with equipped kind of a facility, and you can say the a kind of a dress codes and all, which will not impact the product's quality, hampering the product quality. So that way, like we have to see it. So from the social perspective, that is important. Even data privacy, because now there is a latest development in e-commerce, where there is a lot more of I would say it's more of I would say like there are a lot many e-pharmacies that have come up, right? So there are a lot of data that is getting collected through that particular e-pharmacy, where patients are uploading their prescriptions. So there has to be a privacy of that particular data, where this cannot be disclosed outside. So that's where there is an importance of social part, right? And from the governance point of view, the quality standards, we have to see like the products are being manufactured as per the good manufacturing practice guidelines. It has to be the research has to be done as per the good clinical practices. The distribution has to be done as per good storage and distribution practices guidelines. And similarly, there is a Supply Chain Security Act that is getting implemented for track and trace and serialization. So this comes in the governance point of view. If we see from from ESG concepts, like there are various reporting mechanisms, like there will be a kind of product life cycle assessment, like once the product has been developed. So from the time it is being developed till it is being, you can say, consumed or wasted, we have to have the details of it, that, okay, what is the condition of that, whether it is impacting the environment or not. whether it is how it is impacting the health of the public. So that is also important, right? So there are various around 7 parameters over here. So, and I would say the 7 stages that are involved. So in the product life cycle assessment, like first and foremost, we have to understand the raw materials sourcing, like how, from where are we sourcing the raw materials, and then the transportation, mode of transportation and the logistics, how much time it's taking, right? Right now, if you see, like most of, since India is, I would say, the pharmacy of the world, it's been called pharmacy of the world. So the most of the products, pharma products, are being manufactured in India, but the raw materials that is being sourced, if we see, it's again from outside countries as well, right? So we have to see that, like, if we are sourcing it from outside world, how much energy consumption or the carbon emission are we emitting it for bring that product? Instead of that, can we do the manufacturing or have that particular raw material sourced in-house, closer to the place, right? So that we can minimize. Next comes is primary processing. So primary processing talks about the API, you can say manufacturing. We call it as active pharmaceutical manufacturing. That's called as bulk drugs, right? So that how much time it takes, like, and what kind of like environment in which it is being manufactured, and then what kind of equipments are we using it. Right now, if you see, like, there are a lot more biological products are getting developed, right? So in that, again, there are various equipments that we are using where there could be a kind of more, you can say, carbon emission or that's happening. So how we can reduce it? So from that angle, we have to see it when we are doing a production, right? That's what we call about like the secondary processing. That is the formulation, product formulation, where the product is getting manufactured, right? Then comes the fourth is storage and distribution. Once the product is being manufactured, then where are we storing, how we are storing, and then how we are distributing it across India, right? So that also we have to see it. Most of the pharma companies, they have around 20 plus like CFEs where they will be sending it across, right? So how they are going to do. So that is parameters that we have to see in the product life cycle. Then comes the auxiliary operations, that is the packaging material development or the you can say sourcing of those packaging materials, where mostly the SMEs plays a vital role over here, like all the other, like you can say, ancillary products, which helps in giving a final look to that particular product. That is the, you can say, the primary, secondary, and tertiary packaging of that pharma product, right? So some products you will be seeing that it comes in a strips, some will be in vials, some will be in syringes, insulins and all. If you see in cartridges, it comes. So there are various ways of packaging. So like those are also being sourced from SMEs. So we have to also understand how the SMEs are aligned from the ESG concepts, because they also have to go green, right? Because right now, this year we are targeting around 1,000 listed companies to submit the BRSR report, right? But again, to help them, again, there are SMEs who has to also be aligned. So there has to be a vendor selection process where, again, based on the ESG parameters and the ratings, they also has to be onboarded. So those who have a better rating of compliance and the ESG norms, they should be given the first priority. So that kind of concepts we have to implement it. So that's where, and then the therapeutic uses, like the pharmacological use of that particular pharma product. And I would say how it is impacting the life of the patient, right? So if we are consuming any product, like if it is for any kind of a disease, is it impacting the adverse side effects also or not? That also has to be seen. So adverse events also happen. So that also has to be seen, and then we have to tackle that. And last is, once it has been launched, the product has been launched, then we also should have a post-marketing surveillance. That is there any side effects or a kind of a counterfeit that has happened, or what is the it's like more of like the incidences we see, like there are side effects. Like example is, I'll not name the company, but again, there are some products which has come and it was a BD product. It was a powder form, where it was being said that like it has carcinogenic properties in it, and so that has to be again recalled back. So the recall mechanism has to be there in place. So and we have to minimize that recall mechanism. Even there are a lot many products that gets expired, right? So how we can minimize the expiry so that like it should not be wasted. So from that angle also we have to see it. So it's more, I would say, like the ESG wise, it's very much into pharma company. There is a lot more challenge, and ESG will be playing a very vital role over here. And it could be a kind of a risk which we have to mitigate altogether.
So Avinash, as we are building, as you're aware, we are building this global thought leaders community for cross-pollination of knowledge and a community of independent directors for having better corporate governance in the country. What are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by the WDC team?
As per my understanding, I would say that it's a good platform. It's a great initiative where we are able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So a new concept and the ESG and how we will be able to impact from the corporate governance point of view if we are working as an advisor or giving a subject, we being as a subject matter expert, right? So here it's a great initiative where WDC is mostly working on like minimizing the gap and fulfilling the gap of what is actually required, where the subject matter experts as well as future leaders are getting upgraded about like how the corporate governance need to be also in a forefront, so that like they can have a better kind of a quality of life in place from the pharmaceutical perspective. So that's where I see that like WDC is working in a very good direction, where it could be a kind of a collaborative approach where we will be learning from other industry stalwarts as well. And we have to see that if any other industry is doing any or having any other initiative which is improving the ESG point of view or improving the corporate governance, then how like we can implement it in our industries as well. So it's a kind of a collaborative approach. We have to always have it in place so that we can all build together a healthy living. So that is all about what I can say.
Thank you for your motivating feedback. And that was a fantastic conversation with you. I'm confident that your insights will inspire the future leaders. Thank you, Avinash, for joining us today. Wish you the very best for your future endeavors.